Relax. It's just sports virtual on the road edition. Thanks for hanging with us as we do this not in person this week because I am in Denver, Colorado in my hotel room. My flight's not till later today, recording on a Tuesday morning. This will drop crack of dawn Wednesday, I guess, right, Taylor?
Yeah.
And
As soon as possible so that we can talk about one of the best Monday Night Football games I've ever seen.
he watched the Jets-Dolphins game. No, so I'm here in Denver because Monday Night Football was covering Bengals, Broncos, and quick rundown of the whole show. We'll do that. We're going to talk about Bengals next, what the heck it looks like after this, Detroit coming to Cincinnati. We'll talk about positives. The Cincinnati Reds are in the playoffs. What? They're out in Los Angeles. We'll chat about the Reds-Dodgers series and maybe some overall playoff look for baseball. College football, the University of Cincinnati Bearcats go out, beat Kansas on the road, come back. I've never seen Scott Satterfield that happy in my life.
Me neither.
We'll get to that. And Cincy dude in the news. All right. But let's start with the funeral of the Cincinnati Bengals. Oh my goodness. 28-3. Monday Night Football. They lose to the Denver Broncos, who are a good football team, sure, but their offense is broken. It's just broken. First of all, takes from Mile High Stadium. This is my first time. I've been to Denver before. I've been to Coors Field before. It's my first time at Mile High for a Broncos game. And I guess I got the full experience. I got a Broncos win, Monday Night Football, prime time. That made top tier of stadiums, which I guess isn't really a hot take. Everyone loves it there. But the press box was shaking for like 60% of the game. Like the way they stomp, I guess that's like a Bronco thing.
Yeah, I've been there once before, and it was not for a Broncos game. It was for a Taylor Swift concert, the Eras Tour.
Tracks.
Shout out Swifties. But I went there, and they all started stomping. And I was like, what is happening? Why are we stomping? And I was at like the very top, very cheap seats, the best I could like possibly find. And I was like, we're going to fall off Mile High.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely insane. Deserves all the hype. Good for them. And this game was a disaster from the jump. So Zach Taylor has gotten a lot of flack for going for it on 4th and short or just play calling in general and decision making. When they kicked a field goal on their first drive, 4th and 2 for a chip shot field goal to go up 3-0, I had a really bad feeling. That is not the confident Zach Taylor that we have come to know when it comes. To me, that was the first sign of this could be an issue. There may be a lack of confidence. He would never say that. And after the game, when we asked him about it, he was like, take the points. We wanted momentum. Sure, that's the right answer. But they were driving. They looked good. And we don't need to go through play-by-play of this game because it was just so disgusting.
Yeah, I don't think anyone wants a recap, honestly.
No, but here's what I want to say when we're just talking about the stats of the game. The only stats that matter besides 28-3, which I kept on joking, 28-3, we've seen this one before. The Broncos had 512 yards of offense. The Bengals, 159. This is a Bengals team that's supposed to be the best offense in the NFL. Yes, I know no Joe Burrow, but they all have the same confidence in Jake Browning, allegedly. And they are the first team since the Oakland Raiders in 2009 to have less than 200 yards of offense in 3 of their first 4 games.
And one of those games is the first game of the week that Joe Burrow fully played in.
Yeah.
So it's not like it was a Jake Browning problem.
No, and I will say Browns went out and beat the Packers. Their defense is very good.
They're great defense, but I'm just like, obviously this is a whole offense issue.
This is a deeper rooted issue. There's trouble in paradise. There was the big moment where Jamar Chase was like barking at Zach Taylor. They were going back and forth on the field. That
were you able
viral.
To see that?
I saw it online afterwards because truthfully, like so much is going on when you're there. I saw it drop online and then we went and asked about it. And also like where we were sitting, even if I were to have noticed it, it wouldn't have looked like anything.
And I'll be honest, it didn't look like anything on the broadcast at first. Yeah. They were just like, oh, he walked up to him to talk to him. And if you watch enough football, you're like, yeah, that happens. Like It's not
And
that
Jamar does
crazy.
this all the time. Like,
Yeah, it
that's
wasn't as crazy as I think the internet wanted it to be,
it was
but
because there were
it's
2
clear
bad Monday
he's
Night Football games, and it was something to talk about, and it's Jamar Chase, and
yeah.
Jamar is one of my favorite Jamar quotes, which is like an under the radar quote, where he's like, when they're like, "Oh, did you know that would blow up?" Asking about one of his quotes, he goes, "Anything I say blows up." So like anything he does blows up. That's just who he is. I don't think that was bad at all. Zach Taylor, even after the game, spoke about how, he's just like a really passionate guy. He's when he retires from coaching, Zach Taylor said that Jamar Chase will go down as one of his favorite players he has ever coached. Jamar's just a passionate guy. Then Jamar like live tweets about it after the game,
I saw, yeah.
say, yeah, say like, I play with passion. Y'all get off of me, whatever the heck he said. Um, I will talk about Jamar Chase and the evolution of him as a person
Mhm.
after the game. So we know the Jamar to say the quotes and say, "I'm always effing open," yada, yada, yada. Talking to him after this game, a bunch of the reporters, we were all chatting before we spoke to him, and they're like, "Oh, what's Jamar gonna say? What's Jamar gonna say?" And I don't want to pat myself on the back, but I kind of turned to them. I'm like, he's not gonna really say much
It did
because,
feel like and this isn't at all about you, but it did feel like when I was watching the clip that other people were trying to bait him
uh-huh.
into saying something, and I was like, "Guys, how many years has he been here? He's already been through the, like, oops, I said something and people are mad at me type vibe. I'm not gonna do that."
And that is not why, in my opinion, he doesn't or hasn't yet. He still could have a blow up. I'm not going to say that.
Mhm.
And Jamar's blow ups aren't blow ups. Like, they're
Yeah.
very like PC blow ups. They're
Yeah.
they're like
They're
a
very
quote.
wide receiver blow-ups, which
Yeah, and
is
that's
like
and like
loose, what is it? Like motivational weird quotes that could be cryptic or
right.
not.
And
Yeah.
that's why he gets paid, right?
Yeah.
Like, because he's a star. Um no, and this is going to sound, and I think part of it has to do with the mega contract, like he's paid. But I think more than anything, and this is going to sound so cheesy, being a captain means a lot to him. Like, Jamar's a smart guy, especially when it comes to like the ethers of football and marketing and all these other things. Like, he is a smart human being, and he understands his brand. He understands like what that means. He understands Joe Burrow goes down. He knows if he starts to be an issue, it's gonna be an issue for the Bengals.
Mhm.
And at this moment in time, yeah, they look horrible, but they're 2-2 and in second place in the AFC North. So
Yeah.
like, yes, it might look like the world is falling. The world might be falling. I can't give you hope that it's not. But Jamar Chase, he's not going to do that right now. He's just not. And that was kind of like my talk with the other reporters beforehand. A lot of them were saying, "Oh, what's he going to say?" I'm like, he's not going to say anything. And you're right. I do think people were baiting him hard. Um, and I asked him the question because the one thing I always like to know about Jamar, and I don't think it was really baiting, but I asked him, "Do you think you're getting enough targets?" And he said, "How many did I get?" And it was 6. He goes, "I get 6 to 8. That's fine." Like, he's being smart about it. People were taking out of context the effort quote, because he
Mhm.
said the offense played with less effort or energy than the defense.
Yeah.
He wasn't talking about the Bengals defense. He was talking about the Broncos defense. And I think a lot of people are thinking that he's saying like the defense wanted it more. The Bengals defense wanted it more than the Bengals offense. And
Yeah.
people are like, "Oh, they're questioning his effort. Or they're questioning the Bengals effort." I didn't take it as that. Jamar was super cool after the game. There was other things. I saw BJ Hill sitting at his locker, full uniform, pads on, well after most guys were showered. And another captain just looked like oh boy.
Mhm.
And they got their behinds kicked. Spoke with Orlando Brown Jr. and he took a lot of accountability, and frustrated. The word frustrated was just using over and over again. And that might have been because the reporters were saying, "How frustrated are you? How frustrated are you?" I hate that question. I understand it's difficult to like when you're covering a team that's getting their behind kicked, it's hard to like frame questions at a certain point. But
Mhm. Talk to
yeah.
us about how terrible you are. Yeah, like they're not gonna
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And don't get me started with the people who start with the talk to us about.
That's their favorite though.
I think you should
Talk
lose.
about talk about how you feel about this.
Can I get on my journalism soapbox real quick, cuz I'm proud of being a big J.
Yes, go ahead.
If you start a question with talk to us about, or even end it with, a question has to have a question word. Oh my gosh. Like, I don't usually care. I'm all for being like colloquial and like chill vibes and relax. It's just sports, right? That's the name of the podcast. But if you start with a talk to us about, you don't deserve to be covering pro sports, low key. I mean, like, yeah, it happens to everyone, but like, there are some people who do it all the time. And I'm not calling out a specific Cincinnati reporter. We see this all around the country. Anywhoomst.
So the vibes were terrible in the locker room.
So bad. So bad. It was bad.
For the people who didn't want to stay up and watch the press conferences after because they were like, this is a total loss, who cares? Tell us.
I'm with you guys.
Unfortunately, your job, but I'm going to try to be a journalist. Tell us.
No, yeah, this is different.
No, I know. Talk about. No, I want to know, what did Zach Taylor say? What was the feeling in the press conference with Zach Taylor? How did he respond to it?
Yeah.
What were the vibes in there?
Bad. Vibes were bad. Zach Taylor hit us with the same thing that he always hits us with. We got to be better. You know, he has all the confidence in the world in the guys in the locker room. If you've seen a bad Bengals loss, copy and paste that press conference, and that's what Zach Taylor was. There was one thing, though, that I did like that Zach spoke about. He was asked about the adversity of this season and how it compares to adversity from prior seasons that he's had, because boy, say what you want about the guy, but he has gone through it with this Bengals team. Slow starts, Burrow getting injured, contract stuff, which happens everywhere, but it just seems like the Bengals, because of not even the level of play that the players have, because, yeah, when they're healthy, their stars are stars. But their stars are superstars outside of football. Like, Joe Burrow's an international star.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they notice him in Spain and France and Australia. Jamar Chase is walking in Fashion Week in Paris. Like, not every team's stars have that kind of following. So when he's dealing with that, you know, we're talking about a guy he's from Nebraska, I think. Like, and he's been in the NFL for 13 years. It's not like he's like some small town, you know, whatever. But
this
like,
is no Hallmark movie, yeah.
Right. Like, he was coach in Miami with the Dolphins at one point, in Los Angeles with the Rams. Like, he's been around. But my point in saying that is, he's been through a lot of adversity, and the question was, how does the adversity this year compare to adversity in the previous years? And he goes, every year you deal with adversity. Every year it's the same. I've been in a lot worse places. Zach is saying this. He's been in a lot worse places 2-2 and dealing with adversity. You know, last year took them until week 5 to get their second win. So he said, this isn't a bad place. And he said, if you look around the NFL, everyone's dealing with something. And he likes the guys in his locker room. He likes the adversity. He would take his adversity over other teams' adversities, is essentially what it sounded like. So I did like that. I think that's that, and just, you know, him gushing over Jamar. Like, that's one thing. I vividly remember when I was covering the Bengals on their AFC Championship run the year after the Super Bowl, and Eli Apple was on the team. And Eli Apple, for those who don't remember, was like getting dragged everywhere on social media all the time. It was like the fun thing to do was to hate on Eli Apple.
Part of it was his own doing. He would like go at people.
100%. He would be retweeting my highlights of him and my quotes of him all the time with just like skull emojis. Like, and this isn't like the poor Eli Apple thing, but this was the first time I vividly remember it, and I could go through multiple times, and I'll rattle off a few afterwards, where someone asked about Eli Apple, about him like getting burned on a play. He goes, I don't get the Eli Apple hate. Like, Eli's great. We love him in this locker room. Like, when a single player is called out for something negative, there's a lot of times, like Jake Browning was called out last night, he goes, it's the whole offense. Zach comes to the front lines and just gushes over them. Like, and it was for Eli Apple. I've heard him do it over Joe Mixon. I've heard him do it over Jamar Chase after the always open quote. Jamar Chase after the always effing open quote that our station put out there. Zach was not asked about it. Zach took a moment in the press conference and goes, by the way, before we go, the always open quote, like, that's unbelievable. Like you gotta love a guy who does that. Logan Wilson, when he had the hip drop tackle against Mark Andrews that put Andrews out for the season, I believe, wasn't asked about it. Like, he was going to be, and he's on his own goes, by the way, this stuff about Logan Wilson. Logan's the best. And Logan actually like is the best. But, I'm not saying these guys are or aren't, but my point is Zach, more than other coaches in the NFL, goes out there for his guys and dies on the sword. And that's why guys like him. So that was my Zach Taylor part of the presser. Jake Browning's part of the presser, because what I thought was great, Jake's, was asked about, hey, at least you didn't turn the ball over this week. That's a good thing. And he goes,
Wow.
listen,
The bar is the floor.
the bar is and Jake was like, listen, I think I put the ball where I needed to put the ball this week. Who cares? Like, we got killed.
Yeah,
Like,
it produced 3 points. So
Dude, maybe I'm like I just have a sick love for like certain press conferences. Jake Browning's press conferences, he's just so nonchalant and like such a normal dude.
Despite the fact that he's in a very uncomfortable circumstance, I would assume.
Yeah, and I've dealt with a lot of. Yeah, I like Jake Browning, and I'm rooting for him to figure it out.
And I want to ask you. Now we've seen it all. I mean, you didn't get to watch the TV broadcast.
I would go back and watch it if I needed to, but not really. I was obviously watching the field.
Yeah, I was able to watch the TV broadcast, and then I watched a little bit of like Aikman and Buck kind of talking about it afterwards. I mean, Troy Aikman hates this team. Like, Troy Aikman throughout the game was like, this is embarrassing. This is the most embarrassing thing I've seen. At one point,
Troy Aikman just hates bad games.
No, he hates a team that he doesn't feel like has a great offense. Like, every time there's a team that's on our television where the offense is playing poor, he wants out. He wants to not participate in the game anymore.
Yeah.
He was on SportsCenter after, and he was like, "Are you guys trying to set me up? I'm not trying to get in trouble, but that was an embarrassing effort," and just kind of roasted them. And he pulled out some of the stats that I thought were kind of interesting. He said the Bengals had more penalties than first downs.
Yeah, Zach talked a lot about that.
They had 10 penalties, 9 first downs. He was super concerned, rightfully so, about the run game.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yes, check. And I think he really made a good point that I saw a lot on my timeline during the game that I wanted to talk a little bit more about, which was a lot of things didn't happen, right? But what it felt like more than anything was that this team was not prepared. I mean, it's really difficult when you're getting false starts and things before the snap even happens. It felt like they were just ill prepared. I don't know if that's accurate or if they were just undisciplined. I don't know what the problem was, but it looked bad.
Undisciplined, and I'm a big believer in the snowball effect. Like, things they pile on. I think there was 1 or 2 calls that were questionable. And
yeah, the Ted Karras call was BS. I think everyone agreed.
Ted Karras call was when he looked up beforehand, and then I think it was the Amarius Mims call that he wasn't lined up properly. Those 2 calls took away big plays. Like, I think one was the big T. Higgins catch down the sideline, and that would have been like a 20-something yard gain, first down or whatever. I just think they didn't say buck stops here. Like, they kept spiraling. So, yeah, Zach used the word undisciplined. Zach Taylor used the word undisciplined in his post-game press conference. And what concerns me is after the Minnesota fiasco, you have an extra day to prepare, and you didn't come back ready to rock.
Yeah. And this is, I hate to say that, like, some games are more important than other games, but most teams come into a primetime game incredibly prepared because they know we are the only team on. I mean, technically they weren't. The Dolphins were on too. But they're like, we're the only team on. Everyone's going to watch this game. Like, let's really show people how we are. And it felt like this was like a 1:00 game and in Cincinnati that they weren't paying attention to.
I think it's less of that. I think it's that they have the extra time to prepare.
Yeah. And I mean, both are true to me.
Yeah. Denver just wanted it more. Like, Denver just like showed up. And I think
and to be clear, like, Denver's not some like juggernaut. They wanted it because they also have lost 2 previous games by a last-second field goal. So they're
Yeah.
also feeling very screwed over, like they could have won games but just screwed themselves up at the
Yeah.
end. So they're, like, passionate about
Did
getting
you
a win.
hear, speaking of screwing themselves up, the Breece Hall quote from the Jets?
I did not.
Oh my goodness.
What'd he say?
I don't want to botch this completely, so I'm going to read it. This is from, I believe it was Zach Rosenblatt, who's the athletic reporter for the Jets. Breece Hall was asked to sum up the loss, said it's been the same tale over their 3 losses. In 3 of their losses, the Jets are 0-4. Teams shoot themselves in the foot, then we come back and shoot ourselves in the head. So, not to get away from the Bengals, I feel that.
No,
Like,
yeah.
that's what the Bengals game felt like. And I don't want to make light of that situation, just using a quote from an NFL player. If you were to tell me Breece Hall played for the Bengals and said that, I'd be like, yeah, dude, feel that.
Yeah, because it's not like the Broncos were a well-oiled machine looking amazing out there. The offense still looked kind of gross to me,
Yeah.
but it didn't matter.
Yeah, no, it's bad, and it's going to be, truthfully, unless the Bengals, and this could be like maybe our transition ahead, or unless there's more you want to talk about with this game, unless the Bengals find a miraculous way to steal one in the next 2 weeks, season's over.
Yeah.
And Zach is like, oh, we're 4 games in, 2-2. We're still finding our identity. Okay, yeah. You're a quarter of the way through your season. I think it was Booger McFarland once said, or not once, I've heard Booger McFarland say this, that Halloween is the test to see who's real and who's fake, who's the costume, who's dressing up, who's not. But you got to be in contention at Halloween.
As we move into next week's game,
Yeah.
do you think that the Bengals reconsider trying to nab a Jameis Winston or another quarterback? Because yes, Jake Browning, I think, has a decent floor, but someone like Jameis Winston's going to have a higher ceiling no matter what. Do you think that they are willing to look at that, or do you think they're like, ugh, we got other problems?
The Bengals are not in the business of taking a personality that's bigger than the organization. They're not in the business of doing that. Look at their head coaches over the year. They've never had a guy who,
They did have Ocho Cinco, though.
It's different when they draft them and they blossom, like a Joe Burrow, like
Or
a Jamar Chase. Yeah. They don't go out and get those guys they know with the big, they're going to be the story. They just don't. That's not the business of the Bengals. If you think around of like all the times throughout the Bengals history, yes, Ocho, even like going back to like Boomer Esiason, like, oh, who's over your shoulder right there? They're not in the business of doing that. Like, there's been big head coaching candidates over the years that the Bengals could have been in the business of looking at, and this is like pre-Zach Taylor, through the Marvin years, and they just don't do that. So the big quarterbacks that people would want out there are Jameis Winston, and that's not going to happen. Russell Wilson, that's not going to happen. Kirk Cousins, way too expensive.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen. So I think they still believe in Jake Browning, and I think there's a reason they put a guy like Mike White on their P squad, like a guy who showed whatever. So no, I don't think the Jake Browning experience is over. I do not think they are calling the Giants right now. I think they're going to try their best. Hope Joe can come back and they're in contention. If not, all eyes on next year.
Yeah, all eyes on the top draft pick, I guess.
I don't want to talk about the draft picks yet.
Okay, let's move on to next week's game, a very important game for me personally. The Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
I think if you are a Bengals fan that's feeling any sort of hope for the rest of the season, you're feeling a little squashed by having to play the Lions next.
And not to look too far ahead, then you got to go to Lambeau and play the Packers.
It's all bad.
I will say, real quick, before we get into the Lions game, I had a video that on social media. It had a decent amount of views before the season with Joe Burrow. I said, and I want to check myself on this, that the Bengals have to win the games that they're supposed to win. And if you do that, you get to, I think it was 7 or 8 wins. And then, you got to find 2 or 3 others along the way. They actually still have done that based on the games I ripped off, because their schedule, I think, is a little bit lighter later on. And the Broncos, the Lions, and the Packers were all not on that list.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the Vikings I had as a question mark. So talking against myself, if they steal one of the next 2, great, but I don't think they have to. But for morale right now and being in it, they have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Lions are a juggernaut, and the Bengals aren't. And
well, it's like everything that the Lions do well is like what Bengals fans wish the Bengals did well.
So the Bengals used to do well.
Yeah, well, still not really though, because I think the Lions, and this is my own personal opinion as a Lions fan, don't actually have that great of a quarterback, right? Like, I actually think Jared Goff is good, but he's not Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is significantly better than Jared Goff.
Sure.
I think we all think that. So they were able to say, okay, we have like a weaker, talented quarterback. He's still great.
Jared Goff is still a top 12 NFL quarterback.
Sure, but like Joe Burrow can elevate a team way more than Jared Goff can. But what the Lions did do well was they were like, wait, we can create an amazing run game. Yeah. We're going to be able to get an O-line together that helps with everything.
One of the best wide receivers in the NFL.
Yeah, but it's like there are pieces in the Bengals where this exists. Chase Brown, very good. Maybe not as good as Jahmyr Gibbs, but still pretty close.
I think the jury's still out on Chase Brown.
Yeah, people are still so high on Chase Brown. Jamar Chase, better, I think a lot of people believe, than Amon-Ra St. Brown. Obviously, he got the Triple Crown last year. So it's like, actually, the Bengals have all of these individual players, but it's not working for them.
Well, they don't have the same line as the Lions.
No, because their line is much better, which is always the Bengals Twitter meme that goes around, which is Joe Burrow throwing to Jamar Chase with a bad O-line, him getting hurt. Joe Burrow throwing to anybody with Penei Sewell, him completing a pass.
Yeah, but they got Jamar Chase instead of Penei Sewell. So.
Yeah, no, I'm not here to debate that topic, but I do think it's just like an interesting, like, what could have been vibe between the two teams.
Yeah, I guess. But the reason they got Jamar Chase was because of Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow went in there and said, draft Jamar.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, both teams were pretty bad at the same time. Both teams were able to get a lot of key pieces to put together.
One team got Dan Campbell as their head coach.
Yeah. So I'm like, this is kind of, to me, if I'm a Bengals fan, I'm like, oh, we should be where the Lions are now. It's so frustrating we're not.
And Joe Burrow's playing, maybe they are. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Probably not.
Oh.
Not to be a hater, but probably not.
I disagree. I think if Joe Burrow's playing, the Bengals are probably 4-0, 3-1 right now.
Maybe, but I would say that's because of a weak schedule to start the season.
Whatever the reason is.
Yeah.
With that said, real quick, before I dive into the Lions game, I have a take. If Joe Burrow doesn't play the rest of the season, the Bengals go 2-15, I think he should be the MVP because he is clearly the most valuable player.
What a twist. I like that. I like that a lot.
I think if it's called the most valuable player, name a guy more valuable than the only person on the team who could get you a win.
They didn't say guy with the most stats.
Nope. No, they did not. So that's my take, is if the Bengals go 2-15, Joe Burrow wins MVP. I mean, he won't, but he should. Anyway, back to the Lions. Yeah, I think this game's going to be ugly. I don't know how the Bengals will stop them. I mean, honestly, the Bengals defense has not been bad.
That is actually a real high point, I think, is that the Bengals defense has excelled in the things they wanted to excel in. There's still plenty of stuff they should work on, but they told you they were ball hawks. They're showing that they are ball hawks. They're doing a decent job with that.
They were on the field the whole game yesterday.
I know.
I have no qualms like I thought I would with the Bengals defense. Mm-hmm. Shout out Al Golden, the defensive coordinator, because low-key, I don't need to talk about Lou Anarumo, the last year's defensive coordinator, but this is very similar to his defenses in years prior.
And I think this just proves that perhaps Lou was never the problem because Lou's
I
doing just
never
fine.
thought Lou was the
No,
problem. I
I
thought Lou
know.
was the scapegoat.
I know you didn't, but I think a lot of people did. And it's just showing like, nope, Lou's doing great in Indy. And a guy who's basically a Lou disciple is doing fine here.
Non-ball knowers are always allowed to have their wrong opinions. So, yeah, no, I mean, like, there's not much to preview with this game, honestly. I think the Lions are going to come in here. I think it's 35-10, the Lions win.
I will say as a Lions fan, I have seen the Lions lose to bad teams before. Just out
Yeah,
of sheer, like, we just played the Ravens where we went all out on this game. Now we're playing this team. That
and
kind of
this
a,
isn't I will say, I agree with you. This is the ultimate trap game for the Lions.
yeah.
I think the only thing worse would be low-key if it was in Detroit, because that would be the ultimate trap game. No, I do think it's a trap game. I will say, I think the Bengals will come out firing. Like, I
I
think
could only
maybe
pray
there'll be
for
more
them.
penalty. Yeah, I think it's probably going to be bad, but I'm not going to say it's a 0% chance they win, because I've seen Jake Browning do it. I've seen Jamar Chase go for 2 bad games where nothing happens and explode for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. Like, I've seen this before. So while I think it would be negligent to give you a score where the Bengals win,
Yeah. And I think I wouldn't allow you to do that.
no, I think I already told you I think the Lions are going to handedly win,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not going to count the Bengals out this game. I'm going to give them through Green Bay, and if I don't see nothing, we start leading with other sports.
And I think that that's fair because if you have nothing else to say about the Detroit game, I would love to talk about the team that the city actually is so excited about now. You're not physically in here, but we were talking yesterday in our newsroom. People were talking about, oh, do you think people are going to go to the bars for the Bengals game? And everyone was like, they're going to the bars tomorrow. Why?
Yeah, the
Because
Reds.
tomorrow the Reds play.
Oh, I'm a baseball guy. You know that.
I know that, yeah.
And yeah, no. What's fun about this Reds team? First of all, the Reds, they find a way after losing the last game of the season, which is so Reds. And the best thing about this Reds is that team is that they have no business being there. No
Mm-hmm.
business. And they're the fun team because ripping off some stats. It's funny. I was going to bring up these stats. I saw you put them in our rundown. One stat you didn't have in the rundown is that, what are the Reds? 83-79. Is that correct? Their final?
Oh, I think so, yeah. The last 2 games got really out of hand for me,
I
like
believe that
memory-wise.
the Reds if the Reds were to win the World Series, they would have the worst record in the regular season to win the World Series since the 2006 St. Louis Cardinals. So the Reds, the positives, actually, I want to start with the negatives. Because there is no negative because the Reds are in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, this isn't even a negative. This
No,
is just
but
wow, I can't believe they did it.
yeah. So they're the first team in MLB history to have no batter hit over 270, no batter hit over 25 homers, no pitcher win 15 games, and none of them get at least 200 strikeouts. Now, there's reasonings behind a lot of those stats, I think.
Yeah.
The batting average, there's no excuse. Home runs, no excuse.
Pitching,
But pitching, yes. Hunter Green was hurt for a while. Andrew Abbott got 0 run support for most of the season. And their bullpen in September is what got them to the playoffs, which is berserk. Okay, now they're going up against the Los Angeles Dodgers, 2 out of 3 in LA. They could do it. I mean, this Reds team, I heard someone call them the team of friendship. Like, that's what people are rooting for because they're just the friendship team. I love the quote. Their quote that they keep going on. Their motto is, "You can't kill us. You can't kill us. And you can't kill us. You can't effing kill us." Tito said it. Ellie De La Cruz has said it. Everyone said it.
Yeah,
Pagan
everyone's
said it. I think
saying it.
Nick Martinez, might have been the one who came up with it.
I think he is, yeah.
Yeah, Smiley as they call him. Yeah, no, it's fun. Enjoy it. I've been hearing like a lot of, oh, but we're playing the Dodgers. Whatever. Just have fun with it. Like, they could win. Tonight, which is going to be the day after the podcast comes out, is game 1 in Los Angeles. So for some people, okay, I find a lot, not just in Cincinnati, this time of year, baseball casuals come out, boom, out of everywhere, and they don't, and it's overwhelming. For a casual to like just jump into the playoffs, I think, because the baseball playoffs and the hockey playoffs are the two best playoff systems in all of sports. So I thought it'd be fun to do a little quick breakdown of what you need to know about this Reds Dodgers matchup of who is who from the quote unquote expert for the casual.
Mhm.
So I haven't really thought about this a lot yet, but let's just try and walk through it real quick.
Yeah.
So who are the Cincinnati Reds? So the Cincinnati Reds are like that friend in class who is always around, but is never like the guy everyone wants to go hang out with. They're invited to the party sometimes. They're kind of cool. They're kind of quiet. They kind of live a little bit further away than everyone else does from the party house, but they're a good time when they're around.
You're enjoying
And
them.
you're enjoying them. And then, like, when they come up to the table and they're playing beer pong, they make the cool shot. Everyone goes crazy for them.
And then when
Obviously,
they
this is
leave,
a
you're like, we should invite them more. They're cool.
exactly. So that's the Reds. So if you want to sound smart, like talking around the NL wildcard game, bring up the Reds pitching and at like Hunter Green. He's back home in Los Angeles. This is like his hometown. He grew up in the RBI program. You drop that, people will be like, oh, this guy knows ball, or gal knows ball. And Hunter Green is the guy that if he wasn't hurt, like maybe he would have been the Cy Young over Livy Dunn's boyfriend. Like that's the kind of stuff that could make you more sociable on the offensive side of the ball. And also a little bit more pitching. The Reds pitching stat, if they go, oh, Dodgers have this, you go, well, the Reds pitching. Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. The bullpen's been good. Drop those. People will think you're smart. Hitters. Ellie De La Cruz. So he's a superstar and he's like the super fun guy. You never know what he's going to do though. He's like a wild card. Like he's the guy who might not even show up, or he could show up and just be like the life of the party.
Yeah.
So he makes a lot of errors, but he also will do a backflip between his legs, banana ball style, and make a play you've never seen before. That's kind of the Reds. Oh, and you want to sound really smart? Bring up Andujar, Miguel Andujar. Be like, oh, the Reds aren't hitting, but Andujar, ever since they got him from the Athletics, he can hit.
And he
That's
has
kind,
been.
and he has been.
Yeah.
And the big story is, of course, Terry Francona, the Reds manager. All you got to bring us, yeah, he turned this team around. Well, when someone says to you, I don't like his lineup selection, be like, would they be here otherwise?
Yeah. And call him Tito only.
Only call him Tito. Only call him Tito. You'll sound like you know ball. On the other hand, the Dodgers, they won the World Series last year. They're the Monstars. Drop a Monstars in there, like from Space Jam. You'll sound smart.
They're
Shohei Ohtani.
if we're doing party references, like the Dodgers are the rich kid who hosts the party. The Dodgers
Oh,
are the guy whose parents are out of town who always has a big party and invites people and sometimes isn't inviting you because he's too cool.
and he wears or she wears all of their parents' really like designer rich clothing. Like you see them walk down and they're wearing, and if it's a girl or a guy wearing some kind of like designer bag and stuff that you're like, we're 17. That's a $15,000 bag.
Yeah. You're like,
That's the
wait a
Dodgers.
minute.
But also, it's hard because as much as they're the Monstars, people still love them
Yeah.
because Shohei Ohtani is likable. Just call Shohei Ohtani better than Babe Ruth, and that'll get people going. Freddie Freeman, most likable guy in baseball. Like, how
So
do you?
nice. Yeah.
He's so nice. Like when people are
Boo.
like, "Oh, Freddie Freeman, he's so nice." Mookie Betts has a great podcast. Like you
Also a
bring the
bowler.
also a bowler. So like if you bring these things up, you will sound like you know ball casuals. And then just from there, enjoy the game. You don't gotta be the life of the party. You don't have to be the one talking about like everything that's going on, like all the X's and O's. Just say like these fun facts we gave you. Hunter Green RBI program. He's really the dog of this team. Ellie De La Cruz, he could do everything. If Matt McClain could kind of figure it out, man, what could happen with this team? TJ Friedel, did you know he wasn't drafted because of a clerical error at Nevada, at the University of Nevada? Like, these are the things, if you drop them, oh, and then Duhar, man, maybe the Reds can't hit, but this guy's been hitting. Drop those for the Reds, and then for the Dodgers, Shohei Ohtani, is he better than Babe Ruth? Some guy will get mad about that.
And
Freddie
if you
Freeman.
really want to fire the girls up, say, do you think he actually took all that money?
Wait, yeah, so isn't he the gambler? I thought I thought that guy played for the Reds. So
If
Anyway,
Pete
so
Rose
yeah, Mookie
wasn't
Betts
getting
is a
into the
bowler.
Hall of Fame, can Shohei?
Oh, that's a good one. Best quote from Pete Rose, I think, to this day is, "Man, I wish I had an interpreter. I'd be in the Hall of Fame." Because Shohei Ohtani's interpreter
Interpreter got in trouble for
got in
betting
trouble for betting on baseball
on his accounts.
on Shohei's accounts, and it was bad because I think he was technically a Dodgers employee.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the fun for the casuals, what to bring up when you're at these bars over the weekend and like you're just there for the good times, the good vibes, rooting for the Reds. That's kind of what I would. And also, yeah, let's talk some actual baseball now.
Yes.
Hunter Green going tonight. Anything could happen. We'll see what happens. Whatever. I think a lot of people are talking about games 2 and game 3, the pitching decisions.
Yes.
Littell is going on the mound game 2. So people are big mad about that. And I don't think
I've
they
seen
should
them,
be.
yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
think they
tell
should
us
be.
why, because I've seen the timeline getting pretty angry about it.
Because it's a bullpen game. So Littell was slated to start. This is his regular rest of starting. Because game 162 meant everything to the Reds, even though they still left. Nick Lodolo, who probably would have been moved up on short rest or something like that, had to come out of the bullpen. And you can't just make guys come in on short rest. It's not like playing a back-to-back in the NBA, like load management. Pitching is different. Like guys' arms, when they are not ready, besides the fact of injury, they're not as good. Like, and you're asking starters who are used to pitching every 5 or 6 days to come in on short rest. Like,
and we saw
as a
that with
pitcher-
Lodolo when he came in.
Yes, he didn't look good, and also
Yeah.
he didn't look good out of the bullpen. Like he's used to having 12 hours to prepare, let alone 45 minutes, realistically 8 minutes. So no, so Zach Littell starting the game. Tito said it perfectly in his press conference on Monday night. We don't have to. There's no rule on how long he has to pitch. He's going to pitch 2 or 3 innings. It's going to be a Chase Burns game, and it's going to be a Littell game. So it's going to be a bullpen game, and the Reds this season have been good in bullpen games.
They have
So,
been.
so it doesn't matter who you start out there. You could start out Brent Suter, who I'm sure we'll talk more about later. So, and that was a throwaway about Brent Suter. I'm just saying Brent Suter has started bullpen games for the Reds this year. So if Littell could give you 2 or 3 innings, bullpen games are difficult for the other team because you don't see the same pitcher twice. So I have no issue with Littell starting game 2 because it's a bullpen game. People just see Littell and they're like big mad because they're like, why are we not throwing Andrew Abbott game 2? Well, Andrew Abbott is throwing game 3 potentially. Andrew Abbott has not been good on short rest. So why? Yes, I know he's your all-star pitcher and he's been not the best in the second half. Better as of recently.
Yes.
Better in the last 2 starts. Has not been good on the road. His good starts usually happen in Cincinnati. I have full confidence Andrew Abbott can go out and throw a great game. But don't make him pitch on short rest. If you get to game 3, you're going to be really happy Andrew Abbott's there pitching game 3. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of what I think about the pitching matchups. Obviously, Hunter Green was the guy for game 1. And that's where I stand. Because the Reds bullpen, going back to this game 2 with Littell starting, has been great. So you got Graham Ashcraft back there. You got Santillan. You got Pagan. Like, they've all proven they can do this. And you could bring Chase Burns and Lodolo and Nick Martinez out of the bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have no issue. I'd have a bigger issue if you were starting a bullpen guy. I'd have a bigger issue if you were pitching someone on short rest because you don't do that. It's a dangerous recipe.
I want to know on the other side.
Yeah.
How do the Reds succeed hitting? Because I feel like they're gonna have to get some hits out here.
You got to get the starters out of the game. Got to get the starters out of the game. The Reds can't be striking out on 3 pitches. Like, I am a big believer, baseball philosophy. A lot of times your first pitch is your best pitch. So go down swinging, like go up there hacking. You got to work counts. They need, and listen, if they're hot and they're swinging at the first pitch, fine. Got to get the starters out of the game. Make the Dodgers bullpen beat you. That's going to be the recipe for success. I don't think listen, anyone could catch a ball. Ellie De La Cruz could hit a ball, into the Hollywood Hills. But I think larger scale on the macro, they're going to have much more success in these hopefully 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th inning than they will in the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd. And
Mhm.
it's going to be about, can their starters hang with the Dodgers starters? And that is what I think that is the Reds' recipe for success. It's going to be small ball and, maybe a timely home run. But if they go out there hacking away early on, if their strikeout counts are up, it's going to be bad. I actually have no issue with a strikeout if it's a 10-pitch at bat.
Yeah.
Like, get guys out of the game. And if it's a 10-pitch at bat and nobody's on base, then because then if you have guys on base, I have less of an issue not working a count. Like, if you're, get them over, get them down. It's really when there's no one on base. You hear the expression from Little League, be a leadoff hitter. That's working a count, finding a way, get a walk, hit a ball the other way, do something. The Reds need to get the Dodger starters out of the game.
Anything else? I mean, when we come back, this series will have been over. So I'd love to
Yeah.
hear your opinion on, do the Reds win this? What do you think's happening?
Baseball's so crazy.
I
Baseball, anyone
know.
could win. It's
I'm
2
like,
out of
anybody
3.
it can get this.
Genuinely, I believe they could beat the Dodgers, but I could also see the Dodgers winning both games handedly. It's not football. It's not
feels
football.
like a trick because the Dodgers are worse than they were last year. But they're still amazing. So it feels like everyone's kind of down on the Dodgers in comparison to like the Brewers and other teams when the Dodgers are still great and
Dodgers are
significantly better.
amazing, and they played in the NL West, which is a fantastic division. I mean, the Padres got in, the Giants almost got in, the Diamondbacks almost got in. Like, it's a very good division. Shout out the NL Central, though. 3 teams.
Yeah.
Do you remember this NL Central, just 2 years ago or 3 years ago, where it was one team over 500?
Yeah.
So
no, this NL Central has been really, really fun. And I obviously grew up a Cubs fan. I am rooting for the Reds fully. I want them to win this one. I'm begging the Reds to win it in 3. I don't think there's really an option for the Reds to win it in 2, but I mean, anything could happen.
Especially if it was a 7-game series, I have a lot more confidence in having this conversation. And that's what I actually think is great about the wild card. I hated the 1-game wild card.
It was so scary.
I liked it in the sense that it's like, okay, you didn't really deserve this, so let's be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I like the 2 out of 3 because it's still not a given, because they play 3-game series all season long.
Yeah. But it is only at the Dodgers.
I don't even feel good on a 5-game series. 7-game series is the only one where I feel confident that we could really break down who will win this. Who's going to win? I have no clue. It depends what Hunter Green comes out. There's 2 ways. I mean, I will sound either really smart or really bad after this, because this will be out the podcast. Hunter Green is going to pitch emotionally in Los Angeles. It's his first playoff start. Why wouldn't he? Will that be a good thing? Will it be a bad thing? I mean, Hunter has given me no reason to think it won't be a great thing. The bullpen game. Will Terry take him out too early? Will Tito take him out too late? I don't know. Will, someone for the Dodgers groove a couple fastballs that Ellie De La Cruz and Noel V. Marte put into a parking lot? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not basketball. It's not football. That's why baseball and hockey are by far the 2 best playoffs in all of sports. I'll be watching every pitch.
Well, I'm excited to find out.
Yeah.
And weirdly enough, we had an amazing Reds season. Well, amazing is interesting, but they made the playoffs. It's a fun Reds season. We had a very blah start to the Bengals season, and now we have another good team to talk about. Is that what I'm hearing? We're going to talk about the University of Cincinnati.
Bearcats? Okay. Yeah, they won, and they looked great against Kansas in Lawrence. First Big 12 game. So, truthfully, if you look at the Bearcat season as a whole right now, before we dive into the Kansas game, besides quarterback play against Nebraska, when they lost by 3 points on the final play of the game, Bearcats have looked great.
Yeah.
Yes, they played Bowling Green. Yes, they've played Northwestern State. But they just want to beat Kansas. And before we talk about the Kansas game, they got Iowa State next, the 14 seed. the 14th ranked team in America. The Bearcats are favored by 1.5. So Brendan Sorsby, everyone was on him early, and I am proud that I was not. That I've said from the first time I saw him work out, he is an NFL prospect. He plays with swagger. He plays with, like, he's an athlete. He could, I'm getting ahead of myself. He could go down as one of the best Bearcat quarterbacks ever. You could clip this in 10 weeks and say, ha, 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 really? But
Desmond Ridder went to the playoffs.
okay, ready? Here's a hot take. Intangibles, ability. Brendan Sorsby's better than Desmond Ridder. Tony Pike's better than Desmond Ridder.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I just think
No,
he is Desmond
Desmond
Ridder
Ridder
is
had an amazing.
stats-wise top tier.
Yeah, for sure. Did you see Trey Tucker for the Raiders last week?
Yeah.
3 touchdowns and a bajillion yards. Yeah, he was one of his receivers. Tyler Scott, Chicago Bears. No hate on Desmond Ridder. He was obviously very good. They went to the college football playoff playing a bunch of, D3 teams. But that was a joke. But Brendan Sorsby, I am all in. Smash the all in. Against Northwestern State, he went 15 for 15 in the air. 50, which is like hard to do against air. I don't care that they're a bad football team. Led a game-winning drive against Kansas. Antoine Peak Jr., real quick, just to talk about him. He's an Indian Hill alum. All the dude does is knock the ball out of people's hands. He's forced like what feels like 1,000 fumbles over like a season and a half. And Scott Satterfield called that the play of the game. I loved Satterfield had his backwards hat after the game, and he was partying, and it was backwards hat Sat. Love that. I'm upset because I'm still in Denver that I don't get to host Bearcats All Access this week because I would love to talk to Satterfield about that. It was a great win. Yeah, and it was a statement win. And I feel like it was the first Bearcats road win against a perennial Big 12 team. Because, like, their road wins, I've been like Houston, UCF, like.
Those are teams they played before joining the Big 12. Yeah, it's not as interesting. I definitely agree. I'm interested to know your opinion. It's at home, right? It's at Nippert.
Yeah. I'm interested to see if Dante Corleone is back.
Good point.
They did this without their All-American defensive tackle, too. Yeah.
But do you think that they actually have a really good shot of beating?
Yes.
Because I think in college, if you have home field, anything is possible. Even if you weren't the favorite.
I think they could go to Ames and beat them right now.
Okay.
They're vibing. Like that. I'm around that facility. They feel good. They have raw talent. Their wide receivers are phenomenal. They kind of like the Bengals, they're going for turnovers, and it's kind of working. I'm not all in, like, I believe in this Bearcats team to go, 11-1.
Yeah.
But I am a believer in this kind of feels like a bowl game team, which has not been since.
I think that's a huge dub for them. Yeah.
Yeah. I think anything could happen. I think teams will see more against Iowa State, do not want to play them because, especially when Dante comes back, their defense is intimidating, and Brendan Sorsby is a dude at quarterback. I think Bearcat fans, let yourself be cautiously optimistic and excited.
When's the last time you have been able to be excited? It's been years.
College football playoff.
Yeah. So
they went to the Fenway Bowl against Louisville, which, if you remember, was a very funny broadcast because Satterfield had left Louisville
and they were like
Cincinnati, and they brought him in. And he's like, and Satterfield was like, "Yeah, man, I'm just happy for everybody in this game. Like, I'm just rooting for a good football game. Everyone's healthy."
And then Louisville won and was like, "Screw you."
I like Scott. Yeah. All right. So that's the Bearcats. Be excited. You should be. Enjoy it because that's what college football is. Only one team wins a national championship. Bowl games are diluted now, but you get, 11 to 13 weeks to have fun. And right now you can have fun as a Cincinnati Bearcat fan. I think what do we got left? Cincy dude in the news?
Yeah. A fun Cincy dude in the news.
Yeah. We got to talk about him. Back to the Reds. Brent Suter, man of Moeller, Harvard Crimson alum. He can dance.
And he's
an
impressionist.
We knew that. Oh, I love Brent, and if Brent sees this, and Brent will comment on my stuff sometimes, like in person, not on social media. First of all, the greatest human being to ever walk the earth. Like Justin, like everyone would be lucky to have a Brent Suter in their life. Like moms want to have Brent Suter as a son. I saw Brent Suter one time before we go into why is this dude in the news. I was at Bengals training camp and I just hear, "Hey Marshall, the Reds were playing later that day." It was like 100 degrees. He's there with his kids. He's like, "What's going on, man? Just thought I'd come and catch some Bengals practice." He's such a Cincinnati guy.
Yeah.
And I know Ron Roth, if anyone knows who Ron Roth is, that's a real Cincinnati niche. He's one of the scorekeepers for the Reds. He also is the freshman baseball coach for Moeller, and he's a golf coach at Moeller. I don't want to age Ron. I'd say Ron's in his 70s. I went over Ron's house one time. We had dinner, and he took me over to his house, and he has these books of like everyone he's ever coached. He's the most adorable man. I love this guy. He also does scorekeeping for UC and Xavier basketball. There is a shrine to Brent Suter. Everyone just loves this guy.
Yeah.
As they should. And Brent Suter dancing in his former team's visiting clubhouse because he was on the Brewers. He's just the vibes guy, and he does all of his impressions, though, what I was getting at, they're the same.
Yeah, they are.
Got this. Let's see how good we can get, okay? Let's see how good we can get. That's me. They can't kill us. That's me doing Brent Suter doing Terry Francona.
Yeah.
He's the vibes guy. He's a good bullpen pitcher. Very good bullpen pitcher. He's the vibes guy. And his pterodactyl dance? Find me another place where a bunch of 20 to 35-year-old men will stand in a circle and just watch big white boy dance. It was awesome.
Yeah, so if you weren't able to watch, our other sports anchor, Caleb No, went to Milwaukee to watch the last game of the season. He was there as they were celebrating.
To cover it.
Yeah, not just for vibes. He was there as they were celebrating getting into the playoffs. He interviewed Brent Suter, and Brent Suter had one of the most insane, fun interviews I've seen. It's so funny because Caleb interviewed Hunter Green as well. And Hunter Green, everyone's going crazy behind him. And Hunter Green's like, "I'm incredibly focused on what I have to do." And
that's just who Hunter is.
No, I know. I loved it. Hunter Green was like, "I'm very excited about this opportunity, and I think we really have a shot." He's like very serious about it. Then he goes to Brent Suter, and Brent Suter's just doing a Terry Francona impression, dancing in the center.
Matt McClain butted in.
Yeah.
Matt McClain's like, "Do the Tito."
And I just thought it was so fun because in reality, like, yes, they're all celebrating, they're having fun. But Brent Suter really talked about like, "No, it was my childhood dream to be on the Reds and go to the playoffs and win a World Series. Like, this is me fulfilling a dream." It's not like he hasn't been on a team that's made the playoffs.
Yeah, he's been with the Brewers. He made a lot of play. Yeah.
But he was like, "Look, this is what I want. This is how excited I am." And I thought that was so fun.
There's so many fun interactions I've had with Brent Suter. This guy's the best. In spring training, we talked about real deep cut. If people who are our age would remember, do you remember the Harvard baseball "Call Me Maybe" video?
Yes.
My gosh,
that was a very pivotal time. Yeah.
And and they were like, this was like before viral was viral.
Yeah.
And Brent Suter told me like one of his biggest regrets was like not being in that van. That did the Harvard "Call Me Maybe" video. Like, he's incredible.
Yeah. He's so much fun.
I told you the spring training, the training camp story. Oh my gosh! So MLB players get a gold card I think it's 8 years of service time, and you know about this? It's so cool. I believe it's 8 years of service time. MLB players get a gold card that anytime, anywhere you go to a baseball game for the rest of your life, you go up to the box office, you give them the gold card, and they give you the 2 best seats available for that game.
Well, that's so great.
Yeah. So Brent got
as if they couldn't afford it.
Well, it's kind of like a thank you. Like, it's not even that. Like, because, like, truthfully, like, yes, they have money because they made it past arbitration,
they paid millions,
whatever.
Yes.
But I don't know. I don't think they should have to pay for a baseball game.
No,
like,
I agree. I just think it's funny that they're like, "Man, you probably can't afford these."
We're not like talking about like career guys like a Joey Votto. Like, we're talking about like, like a bullpen pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
Brent's done very well for himself financially. My point is, it's actually a physical gold card. It's like the size of a credit card. And he's like, oh my gosh, I'm so afraid I'm going to drop. It's incredible. And Suter's the best. Since he did the news, deserves it. If you're a Reds fan or a Reds hater because you like the team up north in Cleveland that is also going to the playoffs, who, real quick, was down 15.5 games and find a way in. They're a dangerous team. Root for Brent Suter. Since you do the news, he's the man. And I think that's it.
I think
Is there anything else we need to hit? I think so. Right on time. All right. So thanks so much. Like, subscribe, Apple, Spotify,
Anywhere you get
YouTube.
podcasts.
Relax. It's just sports. This was fun. We'll do it in person again next week. Thanks for bearing with us, even though I think this was actually pretty good quality. I don't know. Cool.
I think it was.
Sounds good. Thanks for hanging out with us. Relax. It's just sports. See you every Wednesday.